Hi, it's the end of April, so I thought I'd come and do the second half of my April wrap-up. I'd read 8 books in my mid-month wrap-up, and I've got another 7 to talk about today, so 15 books for the month. That's not bad. The first one I want to talk about is The Bread the Devil Knead by Lisa Allen-Agostini, and this is now shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction. And this one is quite a hard read because it's about abuse, and it deals with Ali, who's approaching 40. She's a manageress of a boutique. She's in a long-term relationship, and she looks as though she's got it all, but makeup and confidence hide all the bruises. So you have a book about her looking at her life, looking at domestic violence, really, and the abuse. And it's quite a hard read, but it does end with hope. The next one was A Girl is a Half-Formed Thing by Eimear McBride. Now, because I can't get books from my library just like that, I always tend to be on waiting lists for books. I've started looking at past prize book lists, prize winners, and this one won the Goldsmiths Prize in 2013, and it's about a girl and the legacy of her brother's illness. He had a brain tumour removed when he was a child, and it's the effect upon her. And it's not quite a stream of consciousness, but you're in her thoughts. You've not got a book with sort of exact sentence structures or well-formed phrases, stuff like that. It's words, phrases. Everything is disjointed. It's her thought processes as she's going over things, and she tells us the story of her life, starting from childhood right through. She's an unnamed narrator. Her brother is unnamed. She lives in a Catholic household. Her mother's devout Catholic, but from her treatment of the children, you don't see a lot of Christian spirit there. And you're listening to her thoughts, and you laugh and cry with her. And that is quite a powerful read, that one. The next one was another one on the Women's Prize for Fiction long list. This was on the long list. It didn't make it onto the short list. And it's Creatures of Passage. And it draws almost on Egyptian mythology because you've got Nephthys and Osiris, brother and sister. And Nephthys drives this Plymouth Belvedere, and it's almost a supernatural element because she's always there when somebody vulnerable needs a ride. Her niece foresees death. She can tell when people are going to die. And the story revolves around her niece's son, Dash, who can't quite understand something that he witnessed at school. And it's almost a book of trying to save him. All the elements. You've got supernatural elements. You've got ghosts. You've got quite a harrowing bit of abuse in here as well. There is sort of quite hard-hitting abuse, which is quite hard to read. But the writing is haunting, it's lyrical, and I really enjoyed that one. It deals with grief, loss, pain, dead, living, alcoholism, drugs. It touches on so many things, and you've got the supernatural element as well. The next one was Meredith Alone, which is a NetGalley book that comes out in June. And this one was about a woman who has not left her house for over 1,200 days. Meredith has isolated herself, and as the book goes on, you find out reasons why, because you have flashback memories. You gradually get the revelation of why she is in this situation. But she's not alone. She's got a friend who pops in. She's got her cat. and she's got a very self-sufficient life, and you are with her the whole time because you desperately want her to set foot outside of the door. The next one was, I found this one so disappointing. It was on the Women's Prize for Fiction long list, The Paper Palace by Miranda, Cowley-Heller. And out of the ones that I've read on the long list, this was the one I enjoyed the least. I didn't engage with the characters. I just did not like them. And although there's a backstory that explains why the characters are like they are, I just didn't really care about them. There was explicit sex scenes, explicit abuse scenes in that book as well that I just didn't enjoy reading. It was my disappointment of the month, The Paper Palace. And I went into it with high expectations because it was on the long list. So, but the next one from NetGalley was an absolute hoot. Tell Me About It by Sacha Naspini. Again, it comes out in June. And it's a very short book, and it is so quirky. And it deals with a woman whose husband has died and her chicken goes into a trance. And she phones the vet, who's an old friend. And the book is their telephone conversation. It is just their telephone conversation. And during this telephone conversation, she's there dropping bombshells. And the banter between them is at times humorous, poignant, painful. It makes you laugh out loud at times. It is such a good read. It's a telephone conversation that you just do not want to end. So that was that one. And the final book of the month was Ottessa Moshfegh's latest. And again, I got it from NetGalley, and it comes out in June. And it's called Lapvona. And this one, excuse me, for me, it was almost an allegory of modern life. It was set in medieval times. So you've got the violence and the hard, cruel life of the medieval villagers. And you've got their overlord looking down on them from his manor house. And I felt it was a commentary on modern day life about the powerful manipulating, that the villagers hear only what the powerful want them to hear. And I found it an excellent book, and that comes out in June. So with this video and the one I did before, my book of the month, I had 2 5 stars, and it was Salt Lick by Lulu Allison and the Tell Me About It by Sacha Naspini. I gave them both 5 stars, but I think my book of the month is Salt Lick. It was on the Women's Prize for Fiction long list, sadly didn't make it to the shortlist, but I thought that was an excellent book. Dystopian in the way that you look at it, you read it, you think, you know, another few steps and we're there. So that is my book of the month. I absolutely love that, especially with a Greek chorus of feral cows that are commenting throughout. So that was April, 15 books. We now move on to May, and the weather should be getting a little bit better. So happy reading. Take care. Bye.